Lots of Tesla stock news today. We'll start with two overlooked Tesla stock catalysts. The new Elon Musk book by Walter Isaacson will probably create an army of new retail Tesla stock investors. Steven replies, Vance's biography had this effect years ago. I've read thousands of comments and DMs over the years, and this is often mentioned. And I actually read this book when it came out, and this made me really interested in Tesla stock. I didn't buy Tesla stock immediately, but I started following Elon Musk very closely after that. I've been following him before then, but after that, that really got me interested in Elon Musk. And then eventually I invested in Tesla stock in early 2019, but if I hadn't read that book, I'm not sure if I would have invested in Tesla stock. This new book, however, I think is going to be much bigger than the previous one. I mean, Walter Isaacson is so well known and he's pretty famous. Elon overall now is much more famous. I mean, he owns Twitter now, so he has a lot of reach. And you know, people will be talking about this book nonstop for a little while. So I think there will be a lot more new people that have never really seriously thought about buying Tesla stock, but after reading that book, the whole thing, I think they will be like, this guy is a winner. He gets things done. This is how committed he is. This is how he drives people. You get this inside look into his life, which I think will attract so many new Tesla stock investors. And I'm being serious about this. Just look at the replies to Steven here. Vance's book is what got my attention seriously in the first place. Next comment, that book made me invest in Tesla 4 years ago. I mean, there's a common theme here. In the long term, this is incredibly bullish. You can see the percentage of funds that own the stock, in this case Tesla stock, which is a very low percentage of funds compared to all other stocks. And then this is relative weight in active funds versus S&P 500. And you can see that just Apple and Tesla are underweight by active funds. And now that Morgan Stanley seriously upgraded Tesla stock, I think a lot of these funds may really want to start including Tesla stock in their positions. Even if it doesn't happen right now, immediately, in the long term, I think it's really inevitable. It's just a matter of time. And if you look at that chart, really you'll see basically a double opportunity, because only 35% of funds roughly have Tesla, and of those 35% that do, their allocation is relatively low. You know how Tesla has not started selling refresh Model 3s in China yet? Well, now they can, basically, because China's Ministry of Industry and Information Technology has approved the application for the new Model 3. However, don't expect higher sales from China next week yet, because the vehicle will actually not be able to be sold until September 19th. We also have some new details about the vehicle. We know the weight and what kind of battery it will use, as well as the motor power. The Tesla Semi performance data suggests the hype is real. Dave Mulaney from Rocky Mountain Institute shared some information from Tesla Semi runs. For example, this Semi did 335 miles on a single charge over 8 hours, and the day ended with 17.5% left in the battery. This one did 227 miles over about 6 hours, and the day ended with 27% in the battery. Based on the data he analyzed, Mulaney concluded that Tesla's range estimates for the Semi were on point. He noted that there was still a lot about the Tesla Semi's capabilities that is still unknown. More tests would provide a better idea of the Tesla Semi's capabilities. Takeaways: that the 350-mile truck is for real, although we don't know exactly how heavy the loads were, but I would think that the loads were pretty heavy. Morgan Stanley just realized that the Dojo supercomputer is actually going to be a real thing, so you just wait until they realize that the Tesla Semi is also going to be a real truck that is going to scale. We just got delivery numbers from China, and for the last week it is at 10,700. Compared to the previous quarter, we are doing definitely worse, but remember, that's because there's no Model 3 inventory, so this was largely expected. I did talk about this the last week already, that I would expect this week to be certainly weaker as well. It's a bit lower than the previous week. And while a record quarter in China is still possible if Tesla can start delivering these refresh Model 3s, assuming that the production ramp is going fine. I'm not really expecting that, because we know that Tesla was working on making these refresh Model 3s to ship to Europe, so maybe they didn't really make any for the Chinese market yet. Maybe they did. Either way, I think Q4, the next quarter, is going to be really strong. Tesla would need to average 15,000 per week to break the Q2 China record of about 156,500 deliveries. And really, we know that the next week is probably also going to be lower because Tesla can't start selling these for another week. I mean, the refresh Model 3s. So next week probably slower as well, but a week after that, yeah, I would expect things to really pick up if Tesla produces refresh Model 3s for the local market. Here's the model mix. The green one is Model 3, and you can see that the Model Y sales have stayed roughly similar to previous weeks. On an EV road trip, the US Energy Secretary couldn't find enough chargers. Her caravan included a Cadillac Lyriq, Ford F-150 Lightning, and a GM Bolt. They weren't using any Teslas. Seems like the strike that would be terrible for Ford and GM is now less likely to happen because the union just lowered their demand for pay raises to mid 30% range as the strike deadline nears. General Motors is now paying upwards of $1,050 per vehicle for its dealerships to pick up completed vehicles from one of 4 assembly plants in North America. Interestingly, this development comes a few months after an increase in inventory levels across the United States. Remember this from earlier where a Model Y survived just fine? There was also another vehicle that didn't do so well, and some people thought that maybe it's a Model 3, but now we know it's not a Model 3, it is actually this vehicle. It's Huawei's M5, which was touted to be better all around in specs than the Model Y, which was supposed to crush the Model Y sales, but we know who actually got crushed in a real-world test. The arrogance of Bill Gates was astounding. Did you know this? He said, I showed him the numbers to Elon Musk. Gates said, it's an area where I clearly knew something that he didn't, speaking of large semi-trucks that supposedly were never going to happen. And now we do have the numbers, and Bill Gates was completely wrong.
The story about AI that really has me steamed or stunned, whatever, is the one from Morgan Stanley's Adam Jonas, who upgraded Tesla from hold to buy because he says Tesla could be a tech company, and if it can tap its own super brain dojo, yes, dojo, that's it, right? Then it could be like Amazon Web Services, and therefore the company could be worth $500 billion more than its current valuation because of dojo. Look, I like Adam Jonas, but he missed the entire run in Tesla that came from being a car company. Maybe he's just getting ahead of the next leg higher as a supercomputer company, one that could possibly challenge NVIDIA down the road. That's why Tesla's stock went up 10% today while NVIDIA stock went down. I'm not convinced of it.
You know what I'm not convinced of? I'm not convinced of the idea that it is not a good idea to make a mistake and then not learn from it. Okay, you missed Tesla because of all the money that it is going to make from just selling EVs. You missed it. Now, you want to miss the next wave again, the Tesla Dojo, Robotaxi, FSD wave as well, the AI wave. As silly as Adam Jonas has been in the past, I think this is the right call overall. Just the way that I model Tesla's Dojo is more in a way that it will help Tesla solve full self-driving faster. But Adam Jonas is basically saying that it could be a business on top of the current business that Tesla currently already has. And in the long term, eventually I think that is going to be the case as well, certainly. But also remember that Elon Musk himself said that the Tesla Dojo supercomputer is a bit of a long shot in terms of adding significant valuation to Tesla's stock in the long term. This is interesting. I'm kind of skeptical of what the Nuevo Leon governor says, the governor in Mexico where Tesla is going to build the new factory, but he said today that Tesla and its suppliers will invest $15 billion over the next 2 years for Giga Mexico, an amount that is triple what Mexican officials previously announced. Tesla has not been blowing money like that fast with a new factory, so I think this news is unlikely to be true. You can now add wall connectors as a product in your Tesla app. For example, you can upload new firmware if needed. And you can restrict charging to a set time window if you have a time of use rate plan. Perhaps that could be especially useful if you have multiple Teslas that occasionally use the same charger. Just learned some new details about how the Cybertruck was designed initially. Some Tesla engineers secretly started designing a Cybertruck alternative because they hated it. Tesla's chief designer said a majority of the people in the studio hated it. They were like, you can't be serious. They didn't want to have anything to do with it. It was just too weird. Some Tesla engineers even took to covertly designing another version of the electric pickup after they saw a mock-up of the futuristic truck on display at SpaceX's showroom in Los Angeles during the summer of 2019, Isaacson, who shadowed Musk for 3 years, wrote. But Elon said, I don't do focus groups. Rather than focus on adjusting the design, Musk told Tesla's chief designer that he wanted a drivable version of the vehicle that he could demo at a Tesla event in November, which then forced the team to come together to work 24/7. RBC Capital Markets reiterated an outperform rating on Tesla with a 12-month price target of $305 after hosting investors for a tour of the company's Nevada Gigafactory. RBC analysts wrote in a note, unlike legacy OEMs, peers in the US who are pursuing JVs, joint ventures, to make battery cells, Tesla is going solo, which should enable it to capitalize on IRA credits more than any other automaker and even be a tier 1 battery supplier. Tesla is planning to make a lot of batteries in Nevada. Specifically, Tesla intends to expand the current facility by adding 100 gigawatt hours, which would be equal to between 1 to 2 million battery packs, depending on the battery pack size. And this expansion will exclusively feature Tesla's production of 4680 cells without any involvement from Panasonic. If you want to convince someone to get a Tesla, show them this video. This is all Tesla's emergency system working, and it avoided a whole truck. Unfortunately, we have this here as well. This is a hubcap from the Cybertruck that just flew away from the Cybertruck. Luckily, no one got hurt, so it's okay. And luckily, this happened before the Cybertruck is in production, so Tesla can look into what happened and actually fix it. Elon Musk just spoke at the All-In Summit. I can't find the full interview anywhere, but when I do, I will let you know. Porsche and Audi are issuing recalls for 2023 electric vehicle models, including the Taycan and e-tron GT. Nearly 7,000 EVs are being recalled due to insufficient battery sealant that may allow liquid to enter, posing a fire risk. So with Teslas, usually you just have a software over-the-air update, but they will actually be replacing a lot of these batteries. A study says that Tesla is poised to disrupt the insurance market just as it did the auto market. I think that's pretty clear. And I model Tesla's insurance business as well. And I think in my bear case, at least, that it becomes a little bit more important. But the most important thing about Tesla's insurance business is making Teslas more affordable actually overall. This is a hedge fund manager in response to Tesla AI Dojo's supercomputer development. Dojo, LOL, nonsense. I personally, by the way, like hearing things like this because this just indicates that people like this eventually will jump on the train as well once they see profits actually come in. So they are just not pricing in all of these new things that are happening. Also, so many hedge fund managers will tell you, oh, FSD, robotaxi, custom chip design, all nonsense. To which I say, it's a buying opportunity. The billionaire Tesla stock investor Ron Barron will be on CNBC tomorrow. I'm really looking forward to that. This is why I recommend listening to Tony Seba. In his 2014 book, he said that lithium-ion batteries would cost $100 per kilowatt hour by the end of 2023, and now in September of 2023, Benchmark Mineral Intelligence confirms that lithium-ion batteries just dipped below $100 per kilowatt hour. And YouTube says you should watch this video next, but if you haven't finished watching this Elon Musk interview, watch this one first. My name is Matt Post. Just like and subscribe if you haven't yet, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you so much for watching.